God is good. Getting the diagnosis for our daughter at 32 weeks pregnant was like totally shattering. It had been a perfect pregnancy all the way up until 32 weeks. It was initially supposed to just check the size of the baby, since my daughter right before her was only at a year old. And they said, because I have advanced maternal age and my baby was so close together, they wanted to make sure that she was growing properly and she had everything she needed. And I was like, great, we get to see the baby one more time. And my husband actually traveled a lot for work, so he had never seen our baby on ultrasound other than the pictures that they printed. So it was his first time. He was actually home. We were so excited that he was going to be here for it. And we had our two toddlers with us. So we had my 5-year-old and my 1-year-old. We go into the appointment. The baby looks great from the head, and they start scanning the body and doing all the anatomy measurements. And we both noticed, my husband and I both noticed, that they kept going over the heart area. And I thought that was a little strange. I've seen many ultrasounds with, this being my 8th baby. I'm pretty familiar with what they're doing and the routine of things. And I noticed that she kept going back over the chest. And it didn't look right. It looked very cloudy, whereas normally it's very black and white over that section. My husband too. Now, he hasn't been to as many ultrasounds as I have, and he even noticed it was a little weird that she kept going back and trying to measure things there. She said, "Excuse me, I'm just gonna go grab another tech because I can't get the images that we need." We said, "Fine, we'll be here." Second tech comes in. She kind of goes over things really quickly, but then she goes right back to the chest area and starts scanning. And she's like, "Okay, I got the images. I'll let the doctor know." And we wait. And as you would think, the doctor is supposed to come into the room and just say, "Hey, your baby looks great. This is the measurement. This is what the length they are. The estimated weight at birth will be." But that didn't happen. The nurse came in and said, "We're actually going to take you to another room and the doctor will meet you there." We knew something was wrong. We grabbed our jackets, we grabbed our children, and we walked and followed the nurse into the office. My husband and I held hands so tightly because we knew that we weren't about to get good news. The doctor comes in, sits down, and our two kids are in the big recliner chair, squished together, watching Bluey on my phone. And she's like, "Oh, look how cute they are." And we're like, "Oh yeah, well, they love Bluey." She sits down and we're still just holding hands, waiting to hear what she has to say. And she says, "I'm sorry to have to tell you, but there was something that came up on the ultrasound that is really concerning. It appears that your child has congenital diaphragmatic hernia, and that is just a hole in her hernia, or in her diaphragm, where it allows parts of the organs from the abdomen to move up into the chest area. And this can affect the size of her lungs and also her heart." She said, "We can't really tell how severe it is here because our equipment isn't as high tech as it would be at the children's hospital, but it is looking as that is what it's going to be diagnosed as. From what I can tell, her measurement of the lung looks fairly decent, but again, I can't really give you any more details. So we're going to transfer your care to Children's Hospital of your choice, whether it be Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, and you will make arrangements there, and just all your care will be taken care of there from now on." She went into more details of what this can kind of mean, what our care will look like from here on out. But my husband and I just sat in the car afterward, and just kind of shocked. Come all this way to 32 weeks and totally unexpected. This is typically seen, this condition is typically seen at 20 weeks during the anatomy scan, but for whatever reason, hers did not show up. Now, they can't tell us, which we did ask, did somebody just not know and they didn't see it and it may have been there, or did she herniate later and it wasn't obvious up until now? We won't know, and we don't need to know, really. But one thing that my husband and I did say when we sat in the car and just kind of took a few minutes to just hold each other's hand and kind of absorb what we just took in at the ultrasound. We're so thankful and so very blessed to have had that ultrasound, because it gave us an opportunity to prepare for her birth. Now, if we would have not had this ultrasound, we would have never found out about her condition. She could have been born here, and that could have been very, very bad. She needed care right after birth, and that wouldn't have been possible here. So God provided this ultrasound. God provided that tech to catch it right then and there, and they just were able to help us out and get her diagnosis, which then prepared us for this whole wild journey of CDH. And so I'm very grateful for God in that appointment, for the technicians who were able to catch her condition on the ultrasound, and the such tender heart of the doctor who gave us the diagnosis. She could have just said it black and white, but she actually had a lot of care and concern and love behind her words, and I'm very grateful for that. That's the day, November 12th, 2024, that I'll never forget. While it was very hard to hear, it was also proof and evidence that God provided. And even one other thing that my husband and I said in the car, he had been home for a work injury since September. And we were in the process of getting this taken care of. So he obviously wasn't working and he's been home, but when we got that diagnosis, I looked at him and I was like, I am so thankful for your broken arm. Because you wouldn't have been here. And you wouldn't be here for what's to come. Because he travels a lot for work. So again, God provided. While it was something that looked bad in the moment, where him being out of work due to an injury, it actually turned into the greatest blessing. And I'm so thankful for God's provision. And I'll say it over and over and over again, even in the hard, God provides. And you just need to be open to seeing it and looking for him, because he is there. I'll continue into the next video. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. And if you have time to read, please head over to dedicatedhomemakers.com. You can read the first 3 parts of her birth story in the blog. And I hope you have a good day.